Double dose of crypto headlines today, June 15th. Hong Kong putting pressure on 3 major banks to take on crypto exchanges as clients. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, everybody, but this is a really big, important development in crypto as it relates to the SEC debate and everything going on with regulations. Prometheum. We're going to go over this story. It's important to take note of. I want to start here with this tweet from Chris over here on Twitter. It just is such a good point. Forget where I saw it first, but keep wincing over the fact that China cracked down on crypto around the top, whereas the US is cracking down around the bottom. Hate to say it, but the Chinese strategy is better for their citizens' wealth accumulation. Not to mention, China is currently better acknowledging the inevitability of blockchain systems and crypto assets as key building blocks for our digital futures. US, what are you doing? Sad days for the US, though. I do have faith the balance of powers will save us in the end. I agree with that. I really do agree with that last line. I think there's even a comment here. Somebody said, the industry survived China ban, Chris. SEC stain will be temporary. So I like the optimism right there that we saw towards the end of that tweet. But here's the news. Hong Kong putting pressure on 3 major banks. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority is putting pressure on HSBC, Standard Chartered and Bank of China, to take on crypto exchanges as clients. Due diligence on potential customers should not create undue burden, particularly for those setting up an office in Hong Kong to look for opportunities here. Look how inviting Hong Kong is in this tone that they're just kind of offering right as this moment of opportunity for them to capture market share presents itself. And what I'm talking about is the way that US is driving innovation out of the country. Hong Kong has taken recent steps to emerge as a global crypto hub. Its Securities and Futures Commission began accepting applications for crypto trading platform licenses on June 1st, and a Hong Kong lawmaker invited Coinbase to come and register in the region. And we just saw that right in a headline a couple days ago. Hong Kong lawmaker invites Coinbase to apply to operate in region amid US SEC crackdown. And we see Coinbase, they're expanding internationally, rightfully so, as they should be, as this fight goes on in America. One thing, especially as it pertains to altcoins in this whole debate and this whole situation, I saw Chris over here on Twitter. He made a really good point. Not just, he tweeted to Cardano community, but this is really to everybody in altcoins, specifically ones mentioned by SEC recently. Next bull cycle will be sparked off at minimum by Asian liquidity in markets. All this SEC US regulatory theater in the big picture is at best an amusing distraction. It is overtaking the headlines, and it really does seem so big, but I can't say that enough. I can't just highlight enough. Crypto is bigger than just the United States. So I agree with Chris here. Moral of the story, self-custody your ADA or altcoins, stake with a stake pool operator, and be patient. Be patient is huge, everybody. So I really agree with that perspective on this news that's coming out. Hong Kong onboarding crypto clients, trying to at a rapid speed. Now the Prometheum story. This is really big development in everything we've been talking for almost the last week or so with the SEC. Prometheum CEO sides with SEC on crypto regulation. Is there a hidden agenda? And that's the question. Besides being a relatively unknown player, which most of us have really not heard of in the crypto industry, the Prometheum CEO appears to be aligned with the SEC on the path toward the regulation of the industry. Prometheum's stance is clear, and this is them tweeting, there's a path forward for digital assets in the US through the current regulatory framework set up by federal securities laws. Now, this is what just happened. Kaplan, who is I believe the CEO, was in a recent testimony in this House committee that just happened. And basically and we can see here, at a time when the controversy over crypto regulation is higher, Kaplan said the SEC has clearly laid out a compliant path forward for crypto in the United States. So this is essentially the vibe that he was bringing to the committee. I believe it was yesterday. Community reaction. And here's where things get very interesting. Why is all this happening? Who is this company? Why are they there? And why are they so aligned with the SEC? And there are some different hot takes here. And I would like to know your comments below. So let me know what you think. Here's Matt Walsh on Twitter. Other companies like Coinbase and Gemini have pursued BD and ATS paths. Those licenses under current SEC regs don't let you do much. What is going on here? Bizarre that this fringe player with no business model is being held up as an example of compliance by the SEC when the actual businesses in the United States can't get a fair shot. An SEC psyop to have the Dems oppose McHenry-Thompson market structure bill? And he's questioning, is this a psyop? SEC psyop. And here's a really good take laying out a few different reasons. And again, I would like to know your thoughts in the comments below of what is going on here. Here's how Adam Cochran does some really great Twitter threads. Why are the tokens they listed, Prometheum listed in 2022, Filecoin, Flow, many of the same tokens that the SEC has now first listed in their actions against Coinbase and Binance? 3 possible answers. These are plants who are being given a sweet regulatory deal in exchange for engaging in the way the SEC wanted to, just like Gary was working on with SBF. Number 2, these guys are using their SEC and FINRA connections to push an agenda to get certain assets deemed securities and for them to be the only approved player to capture market. That is a compelling case. These guys are grifters who raised a ton of money from sketchy sources and for years have been twisting worst and progress to continue to ride the grift. So I'm not going to go through the whole thread, but the reason why he's saying that, basically raising money from sketchy sources, you should see some of the connections and ties that Prometheum has. Now, here's just a good point and a really solid clip from yesterday's committee hearing. For those that didn't stick around until the end of the financial committee hearing today, this exchange between U.S. Representative Mike Flood and Prometheum CEO Aaron Kaplan, absolute must watch. I want to show you one clip. Check this out.
To testify in front of our committee that your company's charter, which only allows for trading in a very small subset of assets, is evidence that no legislation is needed, just doesn't make sense. If anything, the fact that Prometheum's customers cannot trade some of the most popular digital assets is an illustration of the broader problem, Mr. Kaplan.
So good. Just doesn't make sense. So much of this doesn't make sense. Not even just today, just the last week, the last couple weeks, the last months. It just, so much of it doesn't make sense. And it's good to see, once again, people in Congress kind of standing up to this, calling it out for what it is. And I'll leave you all with this. This is Stewart over here, the chief legal officer, Ripple. If I remember correctly, the moral of the 19th century opus, Prometheum Unbound, is that it's more heroic to actively support justice for all and suffer the punishment than strike a deal with a corrupt authority for the sake of personal comfort and gain. Isn't that interesting? Amidst everything that Prometheum is doing and everything that's going on right now. So I'll leave you with that, everybody. Please hit that subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Hit the like button on the way out. Your support really means a lot to me. Have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. God bless.